Test. Testing. Please stand for my final meeting as president. No, just kidding. For the June 27th Rotary Club of Ames. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the United States of America, liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for individuals or anyone, anything that we need to keep in our hearts or on our minds. I don't know of anyone. Does anyone have a Rotarian, someone in our community that needs our thoughts? If not, let's just stand for a few moments. Thank you. You can be seated. Visitors. At this time, Louis will lead us in a song.
It'll be a little bit different today. I'm going to be playing the welcome song, and you all are going to sing by yourselves this time around. So here it goes just a little bit. We're not done. As I said, it's going to be a little bit different today. It's a one-man band, the way things worked out. We have a special song, as you might imagine, for the changing of the gavel. And the words have been composed by Charles Knicker. Please, Charles, stand. I think some of you may know the tune On the Sunny Side of the Street. It's in the Rotary songbook. But for those of you that might not be quite as familiar, I'm going to play the tune once through, and then I'm going to sing it, and have you sing it with me a cappella. I'm going to play it through once. That's where we're starting. As I find the words here. Okay, here we go. Who's been working on? Sorry about that. What did I do? Wrong words. That's better. Kelsey. Here we go.
That's me.
Kelsey, if you're now able, leave your gavel on the table, then direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. We can hear your pitter pat, then the happy tune in your step. Life will be so sweet on the Kelsey side of the street. We made a change to a new room and sometimes meet by Zoom. But you weren't afraid. This realtor crossed over. Super programs made us feel as rich as Rockefeller, with neat treats at our feet on the Kelsey side of the street. Years ago, she had a ball, made some records as a cyclone. In class, she was tall. Josh made sure she wasn't alone. Can't you hear those pitter pats? Reese and Elliot like to chat. Life can be so sweet on the Kelsey side of the street. You can now walk in the shade, put yard signs on parade. Let's be not afraid. Our leader crossed over. Here's a thank you from our club to a first-rate, real good seller. Clone dust at our feet from the Kelsey side of the street.
Well, thank you for serenading me like that. That was very nice. At this time, I will invite Deb up to talk about the community grants.
Well, thank you, Kelsey, and good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. It is my pleasure to talk to you a little bit about our community grants program and then have an opportunity to meet the awardees. We had a committee of about 4 individuals. Liz Beck led the charge, and former Rotarian Jeannie Rogert assisted. Jennifer Garst assisted before she had to leave on her 3-month trip. John Christie and myself. So we made up the committee. So the purpose of the grants are to benefit local projects in the greater Ames community and are to fulfill an unmet need by focusing on one or more of the following Rotary International initiatives. Community development, which includes education and awareness, equality, justice, and mutual respect, environment, health and wellness, and youth and family development. Applicants must be an Ames area 501c3 organization or have a 501c3 sponsor. So our goal this year, getting back into this after the pandemic, was to provide 8 projects funding at $2,500 each, because we have $20,000 available to allocate. We received 15 applications and funded 9 requests, and I'll explain that 9th request when we get to that particular applicant. So the following awardees have been approved by the Rotary Board, and they are the Ames Writers Collective at $2,500 for their summer writing program for young writers. Boys and Girls Club of Story County, $2,500 for the meal program for club participants. Food at First, $2,500 for folding grocery carts. Mainstream Living for $2,500 for their arts performance and physical wellness activities. One Heart Equestrian, $1,783, that's what they requested, for security and safety upgrades to their property. Facing Readers in Story County, $2,272 for equipment to enhance volunteer and visitor experiences and to professionally promote their programming. The Arc of Story County, $2,400 for healthy eating cooking classes. The Bridge Home for $2,500 for mattresses and bedding for a newly created drop-in shelter. And lastly, we have the Ames History Museum, $1,045 for ADA computers and desks to access online resources. So the Ames History Museum, they had requested about $2,400. We had a balance left over because some of the projects that we funded didn't total to the $2,500. So those dollars that were remaining, we awarded to the Ames History Museum. So I would like us to give a round of applause to our awardees. I want to thank all applicants for submitting their proposals, and I think this is a great way to assist our community and the agencies that help meet the needs of our communities. So thank you. We have photo ops. And Kelsey, you get to have a photo op with our president, Kelsey. So we're going to start with the Ames Writer Collective. Is that representative with us? There she is. Great. Next one up, Ryan with Boys and Girls Club of Story County. Judge? Ryan, okay. Next up will be Peggy from Food at First. Amber, Mainstream Living. With One Heart Equestrian. Thanks, Kevin. Lynn with Raising Readers. Trisha with the Arc of Story County. And Jody, Bridge Home. Linda, okay, Linda with Bridge Home. Lastly is Casey with the Ames History Museum. Super. One more round of applause for everyone. John Dahlhoff, would you come up? We have a special award to present.
Good afternoon. Before we recognize some of our members with Paul Harris Fellows, I'd like to say a few words about the Foundation Committee. We're about ready to enter into a new fiscal year, so we'd like to add 1 or 2 members to our committee. Today, besides myself, we have 1 other member of the committee. Fortunately, that member knows a lot about the foundation. And I'm speaking, of course, of Don Goring. You can see his impressive Rotary resume, but Don's been supportive and has served the foundation, not just at the club level, but has done it at the district as well as the regional level. So he knows a lot about the foundation. So it's a great time for a member to join the committee and really learn from the master. Now you might say, well, what does the committee do? And these are 3 key activities. A main one is to educate members on the foundation. It's also to raise awareness for its programs as well as its projects. And we do that primarily in October with the Polio Plus campaign, and then in more general terms in the month of November. And then finally, it's to recognize members who support the foundation. So if this is something that interests you, let me know. I can share with you more details about the committee to see if it's a good fit for you. Now today, we're going to spend most of our time on that bottom bullet, which is recognizing the contributors. But we have a lot of new members in the club, and so I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that first bullet of education. And so that's where I'm going to start. Now, I've shared this 3-legged stool before of members, foundation, and publicity. Rotary begins with its members contributing to the foundation, and those contributions are turned into great projects and programs. And we've heard about several of those over the last couple of weeks, haven't we? We've heard Glenn and we've heard Dave Fox talk about the water projects that the club has in Tanzania. We've heard George Ballistos talk about his personal as well as the club's involvement in human trafficking. So those are just 2 good examples, but there's scholarships, there's peace centers, all kinds of great programs. And what these do is create positive publicity for Rotary. People see this, want to be part of it, and they become members. So one leg builds upon the other. And then this is the Rotary Foundation model, which begins with a supporter who contribute to the foundation. This results in these grants that support these projects. And today we're going to be spending our time on just that recognition piece. So these are the individual recognitions that are available to Rotary members. Today, we're only going to cover 2 of them, and that's the Paul Harris Fellow, because we have several members that will be moving to a new level. And then we have a very special recognition today, as one of our members will be recognized as a major donor. Now, particularly for our newer members, you might ask, well, what's the Paul Harris criteria? Well, a member becomes a Paul Harris Fellow by contributing $1,000, either outright or it could be accumulative over several years, to one of 3 foundation funds: the annual fund, Polio Plus fund, or an approved grant. Now, 2 weeks ago, Dave Fox talked about how this club is applying for another grant for a water project in Tanzania. When that project or that grant is approved, and that's the key, it needs to be approved, as members, we can contribute directly to that project, and it would also count towards a Paul Harris Fellow. When members contribute to every additional $1,000, there are multiple levels of Paul Harris Fellows, and they're listed here: Paul Harris Fellows +1, all the way up to a Paul Harris Fellow +8. And at each level, the member is recognized and receives a pin which has a stone embedded, whether it's either a sapphire or it could be a ruby. Once a member has accumulated over $10,000 of giving to the foundation, and it could be to any fund, they're recognized as a major donor. And you can see there's multiple levels of major donors. A major donor is eligible to receive a crystal, as well as a pin or pendant with a diamond embedded. Perhaps the most, at least particularly for this club, the most underutilized feature of the Paul Harris Fellows is points. A member receives a point for every dollar they contribute to the foundation. And these points then can be used to transfer to other members or non-Rotarians to recognize them with a Paul Harris Fellow. So an example would be if we had a member that had contributed $600 to the foundation annual fund, they're still $400 short of receiving a Paul Harris Fellow recognition. Another member could transfer 400 points to that member to give them that recognition. Now, more commonly, members will transfer 1,000 points to a non-Rotarian, and they will honor a spouse or some other individual who has demonstrated service above self with a Paul Harris Fellow. Now, you're not going to get out of here without taking a little bit of a quiz, and I got 2 questions here. As of June 18th, there was 163 active members in this club. If we were to add up the available points that these 163 members have that could be used to transfer, what would it total to? And the second part of that is, of 163 members, how many of these members have 1,000 points or more available? You might be surprised that we have over 250,000 points available within our members. So in a perfect world, we could recognize 250 different individuals with a Paul Harris Fellow. And 99 or 60% of our members have 1,000 points or more available. So they could recognize an individual without any help from anybody else to that kind of recognition. So I want to share an idea with you. And if you think it's a good idea, it's one that we could implement next fiscal year. Actually, this idea came to me from Karen several months ago. And the idea is simply this. What if we as a club, as members, identified who are those heroes in the community? You know, maybe during the pandemic, it was a healthcare worker. Maybe it's a teacher, a law enforcement officer, or some other individual that has demonstrated service above self. And once we compile this list, what if we match them up with members who have points available to recognize them with a Paul Harris Fellow? Now think back to that 3-legged stool. Not only do we honor a very deserving individual, but this could create positive publicity for the club here locally in the community. People see this, want to know more what Rotary is doing here in Ames, and some could become members. If you think this idea has some merit, if it energizes you, let either Kent or Karen or myself know. And if there's enough interest in the club to do this, we'll put a proposal together and take it to our club board and ask them if they would approve that. And if so, we would implement that in the next fiscal year. I think that's something we want to do. So we'll put a proposal together. I'm going to share just 2 quick statistics with you, which I think really demonstrates the generosity of this club. 85% of our members are at a Paul Harris Fellow recognition or higher. We have 22 members that have contributed to the foundation, but haven't quite reached that level yet. These are all great candidates for members to transfer points to bring them up to that level of recognition. In fact, we did that, I think 4 years ago, where we raised all members up to a Paul Harris Fellow recognition. We have 3 members who are just really new members to the club that have yet contributed. And I think this is another statistic that is just impressive. Over 1/3 of our members are at a Paul Harris Fellow +2 or higher. They have contributed over $3,000 to the foundation over the course of their membership. I mean, that is just outstanding, and I thank you so much for that. What we'll do now is we'll recognize some of these members who are moving up to the next level of Paul Harris Fellow, and we'll go level by level. If your name is on the slide, we'd ask that you come up accept your pin and have your photo taken with Kelsey. And we'll start with Paul Harris Fellow +1. Lynn Carey, Kirk Friedrich, Steve Goodhue, Olivia Madison, and Steve Schenker. If you're here, please come to the front. And thank you so much for your contribution. You're receiving the pin with 1 sapphire. Paul Harris Fellow +2. We have a pot full here. George Belissos, Dave Carlisle, Chad Copley, Ron Hellenbeck, Jenny Legates, Paul Livingston, and Barbara Woods. Congratulations to you. They're receiving a pin with 2 sapphires. Paul Harris Fellow +3. Matt Converse, Vince Hazelbrock, Dick Horton, Rich Johansson, and Mary Wells. They'll be receiving a pin with 3 champions. Vince? Have received a very special recognition from Rotary International for Vince, from our Rotary International President, Shenka Mehta. She has sent a letter saying, "Dear Vince, congratulations on your 54 years of Rotary service. Your continued passion for Rotary inspires us all, and I hope you will continue to inspire your fellow Rotarians to think big. There is so much more we can do and achieve together. Service is the rent we pay for our space on this earth, and Rotary gives us an opportunity to express the importance of service above self in projects big and small that have the potential to transfer people, communities, and even nations, while at the same time making our lives more meaningful. It is because of active and engaged members like you that Rotary can serve to change lives. Thank you for your dedication to community service and being part of the Rotary family. Kindest regards." Pretty hard to outdo that, but here is our Paul Harris Fellow +4, and These are members that have over their membership contributed $5,000 or more to the foundation. And today we'd like to recognize Riney Friedrich. Riney. Harris Fellow +5. We have one honoree here, Chuck Johns. Is he with us today? He could not make it. And a Paul Harris Fellow +6, Brian Dieter. He also didn't make it. We have one final recognition, and this is a very special recognition for a major donor, and that is Dan Devine. As I stated earlier, major donors are eligible to receive a crystal as well as a pin with a diamond in it. Dan has graciously declined the crystal and asked that those funds be put to better use within Rotary, but he is here to accept his pin. Thank you, Dan. Well, I'd like to congratulate again all those who were recognized today, but I really want to thank all of you who support the foundation. You are making the world better for others. Thank you. I believe it's Kelsey, right?
So before I turn over the gavel to Kent, I wanted to, I sent out a video. This, I don't know if Karen posted it yet, but just to thank everyone in our Rotary community for, this has been a true honor this year. I wanted to thank our club membership, especially Jenny Legates for keeping me on my toes and all those board meetings. Thank you. That was really appreciated. But each and every one of you, thank you so much for your input and your time. It doesn't go unnoticed, so thank you very much. Also the music committee, I know just the two of you, it's hard work, but we really appreciate you. Don't go anywhere. We'll still try recruiting more people and the rest of our committee chairs as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. One more time, it was an honor to serve our Rotary community this year, and I really appreciate your patience with the new hybrid and the Zoom, and so thank you. And also thank you our past district governors. Looks like you guys had a shout out on there too. With that being said, Kent, come on up. You. Here you go. It's all yours.
Thank you.
So I need it back just really quick.
A look of chair.
There you go.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for this opportunity to share a little bit with you and what we have planned for the upcoming year and the appreciation that we have for those who have gone before us. Let me start with Miss Kelsey here. Kelsey, We just experienced an incredible year of service and accomplishments with your devotion and leadership as our Rotary president. In the past year, we've done this sustainability of the club. We're still meeting, we're still here, and we're still active. Furthermore, we've taken a number of the key products or goals of Rotary and been able to implement them here in the club. One of which is the food that we have left over after every meal. We are able to give that to local charities. When we were at our other place that we met, we were unable to do that with our food. It got thrown away. We're now able to contribute that back so we can get it recycled. You are now eating off of recycled paper plates and silver or plasticware. So we've implemented that. And I meant to bring it up with me. I'm drinking out of a cup today that you can also start to do if you want. Bring out your own bottle of water. That way we save on some of the plastics that we're utilizing throughout our community. So all of those are challenges that are before us, and they're challenges that have been met. And it's all because of your contribution in those regards. So thank you. Kelsey, you led that charge. Appreciate that. We also have continued to be active in the global grants community. Miracle Park, the Special Olympics, Tedesco, and grants today that were recognized. And also, as fun, Kelsey brought in some Valentine's and holiday spirits for us to enjoy. And Tammy, you were in no small part a significant contributor to that. So thank you. So Kelsey, thank you for all you've done and the wheels you've placed in motion for us to further the ideals of Rotary in our community, in our country, and throughout the world. With that, we have an appreciation gift that we'd like you to accept. As a small token of our appreciation, thank you. And I also have the honor to present you with the past Rotary president. Rotary responds, much of what you've already heard today. We connect people. 1.4 million members of Rotary worldwide, 160 in this club. We transform communities. Approximately 47 million volunteer hours each year have been given to the local communities involved throughout Rotary clubs. And we fund sustainable projects. $330 million was awarded for global service in 2020 through 21. In no small part, this club participated in that contribution through our global grants, much less what we're doing here again on a local and statewide basis. This year's theme is Imagine Rotary. Our president incoming, Jennifer Jones, she shares where members act to make their dreams become reality and they make the most of their club experiences. Imagine each of us doing likewise. Part of our imagination for us this year, we're going to launch what we're calling an after hours club. The members of that time will still be members of this club, but will meet in an evening setting. It'll probably 5:30 to 6:30. More details on that will be coming out as we approach closer to that, but I'm hoping that that will be done within the next 30 days. We would like to re-energize Rotaract at the university and get that started again. We've been involved with the Miracle League. We're going to continue to make a contribution and a dedication to the Miracle League in whatever support we can offer for those young people. I'll tell you what, it's just heartwarming when you're involved with all that those folks can offer. We're going to continue to celebrate. We're going to have our celebration of our centennial, and we're hoping to do it in September. Under 3 leaderships now, we've been added that on the list, and we're finally going to be able to do it. We also look forward to celebrating each of you through our community projects, through social engagement, service engagement, and of course, financial engagement. We also will implement a club survey for each of you. We do ask that you do respond to that. And we are also going to engage some strategic planning for the club in this next coming year. So as part of our objectives, as part of our participation, as part of our contribution, we will formalize committees again. We've been, because of COVID, many times not meeting, not being able to meet, but we will regenerate that, and I'll have papers on each of the tables in the next 2 or 3 meetings for opportunities to volunteer for the different types of committees that we have and look for active participation in that. And we also want to imagine the possibilities with what we have before us. So with that, just imagine a 4-way test that it is the truth. Imagine it is fair to all concerned. Imagine that it will build goodwill and better friendships. And imagine it will be beneficial to all concerned. So when today we conclude and recite the 4-way test, I would like you to own the imagine and put in, imagine it is the truth. Imagine it is fair to all concerned. So with that, let's adjourn today's meeting, stand, and we'll recite the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, imagine it is the truth. Imagine it is fair to all concerned. Imagine it will build goodwill and better friendships. Imagine it will be beneficial to all concerned. Thank you.